Welcome to Adam and Atheism. On this 5th episode, I'm just going to discuss the Reason Rally. Pretty much everything that went on there, as far as like the protesters go, thoughts on why there was low attendance, and about why I thought it was still a smashing success despite the low attendance. So this is pretty much just going to be a Reason Rally exclusive episode. So let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to address on this Reason Rally episode are the fucking protesters. As always, with any atheist convention or event or conference or meeting, or any time atheists plan to gather, you can expect protesters to be there in full force. You know, it's because they don't like it when we protest their churches every single Sunday at their service, because that's what we do, right? Or no, never mind. That's backwards. We never do that. We don't fuck with them when they do their religious meetings and church every Sunday. You don't see atheist protesters out there because that would be a dick move. They have the right to worship in their churches or whatever whenever they want. Just like we have the right to gather and rally whenever the hell we want. But whatever, they were there, and I probably should have just completely ignored them. I don't have it in me to just completely ignore them, so when I would pass by them, all I can really do is just make fun of them. I don't want to argue with these stupid fucking people, so I just record videos of them embarrassing themselves, behaving like jackasses, and then point and laugh and ridicule. Had this one protester try to start a conversation with me, asking me if I'm a, quote, real atheist, unquote, and I said yes, and then he went on this long barrage of bullshit about if I believe in love and morality and this and that, and if there's no God and there's nothing wrong. And after his long-winded, stupid fucking question, I just pointed and said, fuck you, and I walked off. That's one video I had. You can see that on my Facebook wall. Another one was where I just had a camera of me showing how they're dickheads and listening to them make jackasses of themselves and just laughing at them. That was a pretty popular video that got shared quite a bit. But some people were asking me that was fine and all to do that, but why not have like a meaningful conversation with them? Why not address their arguments directly and debate with them? And there's a few reasons why I don't do that. One reason is because these motherfuckers aren't interested in a conversation. They don't want to hear our side. They're not going there to try to understand where we're coming from. They're going there to preach and to tell us that we're going to go to hell forever and to try to take some kind of moral high ground and yell, and otherwise they wouldn't have bullhorns. They wouldn't have fucking microphones and speakers where they're trying to be the loudest asshole in the whole parking lot yelling at all of us. They're not inviting open dialogue. They're there to argue. They're not there to have an intelligent discussion. They're there to preach. They have no interest in hearing our side. And that's just one of the reasons. Another reason is because I don't debate with these assholes, because that's not why I go there. I didn't drive 9 hours to D.C. to argue with some fucking dickhead screaming through a megaphone Bible verses at me. I could do that here at home. I could just go online and find Christians to argue with if I wanted to do that. That's not what I was there for. I was there to celebrate the Reason Rally. I was there to listen to awesome speakers. I was there to meet new and old friends and hang out with them. I wasn't there to argue with some fucking jackass who has no interest in what I actually have to say. Now, that's not to say that I couldn't. I totally could argue with them if I wanted to. I mean, I did spend plenty of time back in my earlier atheist days arguing with Christians all the time. It's something that I'm really good at. I know all the atheist arguments. I know all the Christian arguments. They have somewhere between 20 and 30 that they reword and rehash and try to use bigger words to try to make it sound more intelligent. But they're all just the same bullshit, horse shit arguments that can be easily defeated if you have heard them enough and heard the rebuttals enough. And yeah, they haven't come out with anything new in as long as I can remember. And until they do, I'm just tired of it. I have better things to do than argue with people who are just spouting out talking points and trying to win the case rather than see who's more rational. These people don't give a goddamn about what's actually true. Literally, the only thing that these people care about is winning the fucking argument. They don't care what I have to say. Anything that I say is just going to be met with, well, how do you know? How do you know what's good? How do you know what's moral? Literally, the only thing these people are interested in is hearing themselves talk. They don't give a fuck about what I have to say. They're not interested in hearing our side of the case. They just want to yell at a microphone and try to put themselves on some kind of moral high ground that they're going to live in a magical, happy paradise utopia forever, while we burn in hell forever for not thinking that a magical man lives in the sky. Fuck that. Fuck those people and fuck engaging with them. I have no time for them. I have shit to do there. So no, I'm not going to waste any time debating these assholes. So, rather than argue with these dickheads, I'm going to go there and just enjoy my time amongst my friends at the Reason Rally. I have no time or patience for assholes who are there to try to just shit on our party. Fuck the protesters.
This is Callie Wright from the Gaytheist Manifesto, and you're listening to Adamant Atheism, although I can't for the fucking life of me figure out why.
Alright, so anybody who's read anything about the Reason Rally ever since it happened knows that one of the main issues this year that we had was the low attendance. Now, I was at the first Reason Rally 4 years ago, and there was estimated to be between 25,000 and 30,000 people. This year, estimates range between 6 and 8,000 from what I've heard, early numbers so far. There's no official number that I know of yet, but that's just what I've heard so far, between 6 and 8,000. And there's a lot of speculation for what that might be. Some of what people are saying are the anti-social justice warriors types who are upset that the Reason Rally guidelines or code of conduct or whatever supported trans people and their preferred use of pronouns and things like that, like LGBTQ equality, which I am totally in favor for 100%, and it really bothers me that there's a sector of atheists who have a hard time getting behind trans rights and LGBTQ equality. They say that this should be about atheism only, and any other subject just interferes with the main topic of atheism. And I don't know. I kind of think that's silly because pretty much every atheist I know is also a humanist, and part of humanism is accepting people as they are. I'm fully in support of trans people and want to help with issues any way I can. I know that I can't be directly involved since I'm not a trans person or anywhere among the LGBTQ spectrum. But I still want to be an ally, and I still want to abide by the code of conduct and that the Reason Rally had up. There was nothing wrong with it, but a bunch of dickhead assholes led mostly by Thunderfoot or whatever. Yeah, they quote took credit unquote for the low numbers, saying that they boycotted it because of the pro-trans stance, the pro-SJW stance that the Reason Rally code of conduct took. And I'm going to call bullshit on that making low attendance. I can't say for sure, obviously, because we don't know the exact number of how many people did show up. I know of my 4,800 Facebook friends, I saw maybe 3 or 4 say that they weren't going to go because of that, because they're shitty people or whatever. But I'm not going to give them credit for the low numbers. They don't get to say that because of that we were 20,000 short from the last one. There's a lot of good reasons why it happened that way, and Hemant Mehta on the Friendly Atheist blog, he wrote an excellent article explaining many reasons why it was low attendance. I'm not going to plagiarize his article, but I'll summarize some of what he said were what I think are valid reasons. One of the reasons is that a certain someone, I don't like to name names, who was the one who set up and organized and everything for the Reason Rally, got busted, I guess, embezzling lots of money from earlier conventions that they organized. So they were dismissed from that position, and suddenly they lost the lead organizer, just a month or two before the event happened. So that threw a huge monkey wrench in things, and you would expect attendance to suffer when the lead organizer gets booted from the organization. So now we got, I don't know, I'm sure it was a fucking mess behind the scenes trying to get this thing organized without the lead organizer there. Another reason he mentioned was the speaker lineup. They had a lot of well-known atheist authors or speakers or whatever, but there were no podcasters as speakers. There were no YouTube atheists as speakers. There's a lot of sub-demographics within the atheist community that weren't represented. Probably because of poor planning. Maybe they thought nobody wanted to see YouTubers and podcasters, but I'm going to call bullshit on that because there's a huge thriving atheist community, both on podcasting and on YouTube. And I'm all but certain if they brought in some of the bigger YouTuber podcasting names, there would have definitely been a bigger audience. There would be people who would have been there who would have went just specifically to see those podcasters and YouTubers. So yeah, that's another contributing factor for why there was a small crowd. It sucks, but it's a lesson learned. Another reason would be that this was the second one around, and I guess the novelty is kind of wore off. We really did have a huge, smashing success at the first one because it was the first one. Nobody had ever done an atheist reason rally before. Sure, we've held conventions and shit throughout the country for years, but as far as like an enormous rally at the nation's capital, that was the first of its kind. That got a lot of people energized and pumped up and ready to rock out at an atheist convention, at an atheist rally. So yeah, people showed up in droves. But this being the second one, it kind of loses its appeal, and that's with any kind of major event on the second try. Another reason is that we're not really in danger of a theocracy right now. I mean, you got Donald fucking Trump and Hillary Clinton running for president, who both profess to believe in the Christian God because, of course, they have to appeal to their voter base. But they're nowhere even close to theocrats. Like, if Ted Cruz would have won the Republican nomination, that would have been more of a selling point, more of a threat to secular values in America. We would have had this dickhead who holds the Bible as his ultimate standard above all else, running for the highest position in the country. That probably would have pissed off a lot of people, got a lot of people fired up and wanting to be more vocal about their atheism and their passion for secular values, separation of church and state and all that. And they probably would have showed up better if we had more of a threat facing us. So I guess on the one hand, that's a good thing that we don't have such a threat to fight against. It would be better to not have the threat at all than to have the threat and be forced to fight against it, right? Yeah, I mean, I'll take a few thousand less people if we don't even have to deal with the fucking threat of a theocrat trying to take over our country. I'm sure there's other factors in why there was such low attendance. And I don't even know that it was that low of attendance. I mean, I was there at the first one, and sure, I can remember it being bigger, but this wasn't small by any means. 6, 7, 8,000 people isn't small. I would still call it a success. And I really, really hope that they plan on making another one. I haven't heard plans about another one being made in 2020. I haven't heard either way. But I don't know. If for some reason they're not planning on doing another one, I'm going to see about organizing, and maybe I'll organize the goddamn thing, 'cause I want another one to happen, and I will totally step up to it if I'm at all able to organize the one in 2020. So where it stands now, I don't know where they stand officially, but I'm throwing my hat in the ring as a potential organizer if they're leaning towards not doing one. So I'll look into that and see what they're going to do about a next one. If they're already planning one, then I'll do what I can to help out. If not, I'll see what I can do about taking the reins and organizing it my goddamn self. So if anybody wasn't there this past weekend, I hope to see you at the next one in 2020, if not before.
Hi, this is Easy Rider from Atheist Humanist Australia, and you are listening to Adamant Atheism.
And finally, I'm just going to wrap this up with saying that the Reason Rally this year was one of the best days of my entire life. The whole weekend was one of the best weekends of my entire life. These kind of events, they inspire the hell out of me. They encourage me to keep doing what I've been doing so passionately for 6 or so years now. And I don't know. I don't know what else I can say about how the fucking warm fuzzies I get from meeting and hanging out with old and new friends that I've made over the years. Like, I went to the first one 4 years ago, and it was awesome and all, but I didn't know hardly anybody. I mean, I knew a few people there, just from my local group in Cincinnati,